Right, one of my favourite hobbies within engineering is to actually collect metal components from recycling centres or car boot sales or anywhere really, and then recycle them or upcycle them and make them into something completely different. And a while back I showed how to make a couple of oil lamps out of brass doorknobs. And these are just some of the selection of things that I've made within the last few weeks. So I've made this oil lamp here out of an old brass electric lamp like this one. If you get any shape like this, you can actually use these for making lamps. And this one I made out of the main section of the upright part of the lamp, and easily made that into a nice oil lamp. And these just run on smokeless fuel and can last a long time from a fill up. I tried to make them as decorative as possible, and in this one here I've included Indian head coin from the USA, and I've also signed my work on the base here. And I like to make all different types of lamps. I am actually going to make an oil lamp out of this one at some point, plus this one here. And it's great actually when you actually go around car boot sales or recycling centres, the different brass items you can actually find. And all you really need is something that's cylindrical, and sealing off each end and making it into an oil lamp is very easy. And a while back I showed how to make these fire pistons, which work very well, and these are made out of scrap brass pipe and a bit of aluminium. I've turned the ball section here on my ball turning equipment on the lathe, and these, like I say, they work very well. Again, I've inserted an Indian head coin into this one to make it sort of personalised and a bit more interesting. And I'll show you how you can actually include a coin when I make another oil lamp on the lathe in a moment. This is another one that I've made with a brass skull which I got off of eBay, and I'm very pleased with the way that one's turned out. And when you actually think about it on lathe work and making things like this, you're only limited by your imagination. And I actually heard someone a while back say that they actually sold their metalwork lathe because they didn't know what to make on it. And that does actually happen quite often in engineering. When people actually take up the hobby, you can actually go online and see people making all different components and maybe steam engines and things from scratch, and you've got to actually learn the lathe and the tooling and various other different things, and you think, well, what can I actually make up? And I do actually think that the best way to actually get into machine work and making various different things up is to actually go the recycling or upcycling route, buy components like I've bought here, and then adapt them and make them into other things. And I've had the greatest interest and fun on the lathes making things like this from recycled components. Like I say, this one here, piece of scrap tube, a fire poker turned down, a couple of O-ring grooves, the handles from a piece of furniture, made the ball up on the ball turning adapter, and basically made this brass piece out of a brass bar at the end here, which could easily be made out of a brass nut. So it's basically make each component up to fit together, and then you have a lovely item at the end of it. And it's very quick and rewarding to do so, and less likely that you'll actually be put off from tedious work of making something up from scratch. And that's because you have the main components already made and you're just making other components to fit onto it and adapt it into something else. So today I'm going to show you how I make another oil lamp. I found this one here in a car boot sale and got it for a very low cost. It's a nice heavy candlestick. Now if I had two of them I would actually keep them as a pair, but because I only have the one I'm going to actually make this into an oil lamp. The other main part for the oil lamp will be this top here, which will fit into this one, and this is just a lump of brass that I've got from the car boot sale again. I think it was a stand for something, but it's a piece of solid brass, so I can actually turn that one down to fit this one and then make the adapter for the actual wick in the top here. So the first problem with holding this one here is that it's got this radius on it, and I'll show you how I'm actually going to get over that to actually turn this one down to fit in this one, and also thread the center.